Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I'm here to tell you today that this little plunge in digital asset prices over the last day or so this is good for XRP, and I'm going to kind of explain to you why. It has made one thing I'm noticing is that articles and news pieces are coming out of the woodwork that are highlighting in a way why XRP is better and why it will decouple from Bitcoin and is decoupling. And I think that we haven't necessarily seen XRP decouple. And for those of you that were wondering what I mean by decouple, it means from the beginning of this market back in 2013 or earlier, all of the digital assets have moved with Bitcoin. This is actually one of the first times that I've seen XRP kind of resist that. And a big part of that is because we've got more XRP pairs across the world now, and we've got more exchanges that used to, everything had to go through Bitcoin. If you went to Coinbase, you were buying Bitcoin, and then you would go from there, and normally you would send your Bitcoin to another exchange to buy some other digital asset. That's the way I did it back in 2013. It was hard enough to just find XRP. But the one thing I've told you over and over and over is that XRP is the greatest digital asset ever created. And that's true. And it's being shown to be true now because for two reasons, really. First, it's the only digital asset that's got a real live use case right now. And second, it's not mined. And mining is what's causing all these issues with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash fork and all this. There are interests that are not aligned, and these people are fighting each other right now. And this is the reason that you have all this uncertainty. But you don't, and that's why XRP is just kind of clicking along, and it's not a part of all of that drama. This article right here was a central banker that was coming out. I think he was coming out in response to Christine Lagarde, who had said central banks may need to come out with digital assets at some point. But one of the interesting things here is that he comes out just bashing Bitcoin. But I think he's bashing digital assets in general. I wanted to at least show you this article because this is like one of the old central banker types that is like he's trying to breathe his last breaths is what this is. It says executive board member of the European Central Bank, ECB, Benoit Cœuré, considers Bitcoin BTC to be the evil spawn of the 2008 financial crisis. Cœuré framed his criticisms of the 10-year-old innovation with a reference to the aftermath of the Lehman Brothers bankruptcy in the fall of 2008, the tipping point for economic turmoil, global recession, and subsequently the controversial too big to fail rationale for state intervention. And this is kind of what I've been telling you for the last few months, is that all of this was hatched out of the financial crisis. I'm not saying that these technologies were not being worked on before that, but I've always felt like that was the final straw. And one thing that this article says, and this is a quote, it says, few remember that Satoshi Nakamoto, the inventor of Bitcoin, embedded the Genesis block with a Times headline from January 2009 about UK banks' bailout. In more ways than one, Bitcoin is the evil spawn of the financial crisis. Now, I think it's a great spawn of the financial crisis. I think that Bitcoin, although imperfect in my opinion, is very important, and I do not dislike Bitcoin for that reason. Bitcoin is a very important part. None of this happens, including XRP, without Bitcoin, and so we do owe that. But now what you're beginning to see, I think, is the early stages of XRP decoupling, which it should do because it's the greatest digital asset ever created. Moving along, I wanted to show you two tweets. XRP_news, he did two tweets that were awesome that I thought it was worthy of you seeing. Don't trust anyone on Twitter, trust history. History tells us that XRP is dominant. Here's a snapshot of the crypto market in 2013. There's XRP sitting at the number 3 spot. Today it's number 2. Notice anything about the 4 to 12? Yep, you've probably never heard of them. Now, I've told you this before, and that is, if you go back to all of the years, all the way back to say 2013, what you'll notice is you'll see Bitcoin, you'll see Litecoin, you'll see XRP up there in the mix, and all of the other ones are just constantly changing. And so, but the one thing that has remained consistent is XRP is always up there in the top spot, somewhere in that 1 to 5. And it's been that way, and it'll continue to be that way, but it'll eventually be XRP number 1. Because not only is it the greatest digital asset ever created, like my video I showed you today, the Einstein of digital assets, David Schwartz, was one of the creators of XRP, and XRP has the greatest team. Ripple has the greatest team around it, and Ripple has been working at this longer than anybody else, and Ripple represents the best use case for XRP ever. Moving along to XRP News' other tweet. It says, most of crypto is a mess now. BTC and BCH are battling it out and could get ugly. Scam ICOs are cashing out on their ETH. Mining is ruining the environment, and it's not even profitable anymore. XRP is literally the only hope this market has. And he's dead right. XRP is the only real digital asset with real use case right now, period. And then this article right here popped up. Ripple XRP might end up decoupling from Bitcoin. And it kind of already is. You know, we've seen a lot of things on Twitter having to do with XRP getting new pairs and XRP being direct pairs. We even saw an exchange a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember the name of it, but it was the one that had the awesome video that they produced to launch. And they said they were going to be an XRP only exchange from what I remember. But I wanted to read you the last line of this article. It says, Ripple XRP is highly likely to end up decoupling from Bitcoin sooner rather than later. And that is big, because when we decouple, it's probably going to be because of use case as well as XRP pairs. And when we do, there will never be any looking back. The greatest digital asset of all time that's ever been created will end up at the top spot. And it'll probably happen sooner rather than later. I told you in the last video, until November 21st, you can get one, if you buy one Nano S black and one multicolored Nano S, or any color Nano S, you get 20% off. If you buy one black and two of the other colors, you get 30% off. It's in the description of all of my videos. Go straight to Ledger. This is the safest way to hold your digital assets. I am the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that XRP will decouple from Bitcoin sooner rather than later. Thanks for listening.